Good morning. If everyone could start taking their seats, please. We're going to begin in a couple of minutes. Please start taking your seats. Thank you. That was good. Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Operation Power Play 2017. Welcome. My name is David Bungie. I'm with ComEd Emergency Preparedness, and I have the honor of being the exercise director today of Operation Power Play 2017. I'd first like to thank the University of Illinois at Chicago for hosting this event. University of Illinois at Chicago has been a great partner over the last several years with this event. This whole effort started years ago when we worked with the University of Illinois at Chicago to develop a base camp location where we could host, or where they could host, some of our crews and material to make sure that in the event of a disaster, we had a forward location where we could place some of our equipment and personnel to get to the outages faster and restore our customers faster. So this has not just been a short-term effort, this has been a very long-term effort with the University of Illinois at Chicago. I'd like to stress, though, that this is not just a UIC or ComEd exercise. As you look around, we have about 50 different private sector and public sector participants, and that's a theme that you're going to hear throughout the day today, is private-public sector partnership, because government cannot do it alone, and private sector cannot do it alone. We need to work together to serve our customers and our residents of the state of Illinois. We've had a great exercise team. Again, I've had the honor of leading that team, but I'd like to call out a couple of people specifically at ComEd. Our entire emergency preparedness team has been fantastic to work with. In Ameren, Illinois, one of our sponsor agencies, Tony O'Neill and Adam Proctor. At the University of Illinois at Chicago, Dr. Abraham and his team, Captain Hersey, Melissa Wilhelm, they've all been very professional and fantastic to work with. At the city's Office of Emergency Management and Communications, Khalil Muhammad has been fantastic. At Illinois Emergency Management Agency, Doug Downey and Pam Brooks. At DuPage County, Homeland Security and Emergency Management, Sabit Abbasi and John Neville. And finally, at the U.S. Army Reserve, Major Mitchell has been spearheading their effort to work with us. And those are just the 7 of the sponsor agencies out of the many, many other organizations that have been leading the effort to bring where we are today. So I just want to personally thank you for all of your hard work, and I know everyone here and the residents and customers here, thank you. So we are all first responders, and during a disaster, or if we're not first responders, we're first response agencies. And during a big disaster, the public looks to us to bring things back to normal as quickly and safely as possible. And all of us in that room have that responsibility. And one of my great bosses once said that emergency management is all about relationships, okay? So if there's one thing you get out of today, I hope you meet somebody new and you network with somebody, so you build those relationships so that when this, if and when, and hopefully it never does happen, but if and when this actually happens for real, not during an exercise, that you've met that person and you know what capabilities that they bring to the table. And there's a saying is that we hope you never exchange a business card for the first time in the middle of a disaster. We want to meet here today and exchange those business cards. So today, for Operation Power Play 2017, there will be activity all the way from Springfield to Chicago, with private and public sectors working together to respond to this disaster, this simulated disaster. So quickly, I'd like to go through your folder and the agenda and what this looks like today. So if you open up your folder, you'll see on the left side the agenda. We're at the opening remarks. The exercise has actually started at 8 o'clock already throughout the state of Illinois. You'll be going through tours once the opening remarks are finished at 10 o'clock. And if you look on the right side of your map, of your folder, there is a map. You'll be going to 5 different tour stops, one of which is inside. That's the Chicago Federal Executive Board that's conducting a tabletop. And then outside, we've got 4 others. We've got our unmanned aircraft system, which I hope will be flying today. The weather's not cooperating. We've got our Mobile Operations Center and IEMA's business EOC also. We've got our joint base camp set up. And we've also got a plethora of other emergency response vehicles that are very impressive also. The mayor is scheduled to be here today of Chicago, Mayor Emanuel, at 11:15 to address the media. And then at 12:30, everyone will come back here and we'll have lunch, the most important part of the day, right? We'll have lunch, and then we have some great closing remarks speakers for today. Then finally, I'd just like to say, who has their cell phones with you? I want to say two things. I hope everybody, right? We're all first responders. So two things. Number one, if you could please just put them on silent or vibrate if you haven't done that already. And then number two, please follow us on social media. We're using the hashtag PowerPlay2017. So please, when you're going around, if you're taking pictures, post that on social media. We have a couple social media teams that are doing that throughout the state and tagging each other. I don't really tweet, but it's supposed to be pretty cool. And to really promote this, and so that the public, the media can all see that we're working together and doing this for our customers and residents. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. David Abraham, who's the Assistant Vice Chancellor and Director of the Office of Preparedness and Response for the University of Illinois at Chicago. Doctor.
University of Illinois at Chicago. Yeah, thank you, David. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for that kind introduction, Mr. Bunge. I would like to reciprocate my gratitude and personally acknowledge your great leadership and direction on this exercise design. It was no small feat. We've been working on 96 hours, no sleep, and all caffeine. We do not advise that approach, and I am a public health advocate. It's because of that's why we're here today, for making it possible. I would also like to express my gratitude to your colleague, Mr. Thomas McGowan, and your team, whose work has been exemplary. And Karen Ryan, who initially engaged us in dialogue in circa 2015 to potentially look at UIC as a staging site for ComEd. So thank you, and we look forward to building on this collaborative partnership, not only with ComEd, but with all the participating agencies here today to achieve our shared goals for years to come. So while no doubt having been influenced by Murphy's Law, the belief that we can cope collaboratively is a powerful postulate which provides an impregnable defense. The fluidity of every aspect of disaster response and its aftermath requires strategic and operational decisions to be made on the spot, usually under acute time pressure and high stress. The effectiveness of our response can have a lasting impact on operational productivity, our reputation, as well as our financial stability. So as we move forward, it's important to note that we here at UIC and higher education as a whole, just like each of you, are constantly working to improve our operations and build strategic partnerships. We are learning from lessons, not just from past events, but also from ongoing responses to severe weather, communicable disease outbreaks, cyber attacks, as well as the current budget crisis. UIC has already set the precedent in promoting the inclusion of university and college practitioners charged with making their campuses disaster resilient. We have done so by partnering up strategically with Cook County Homeland Security and Emergency Management, as well as Chicago's OEMC, in establishing the first Higher Education Resilience Coalition to represent the resilience, preparedness, and response issues surrounding institutions of higher education in Cook County. So I'd like to personally thank Mr. Thomas Tilton and Bob Dunn from County, as well as Thomas Sivak from OEMC for your commitment and support behind this initiative. Similarly, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, as well as American Red Cross, has supported an Illinois Public Higher Education Emergency Management Program to improve and promote mutual aid and strong partnerships. Thank you, Mr. Joe Klinger, as well as Harley Jones from American Red Cross for being such strong advocates. So we rely on such exercises like today and partnerships that I just have communicated to challenge us and make us feel uncomfortable and unbalanced, because from that, the real progress of resilience, the multifaceted construct of all the mission areas in Homeland can be made. This ensures that we are constantly delivering a high level of service to our constituents, our customers, and the communities that we serve. So thank you for being here today, and it's truly a great pleasure to collaborate with everyone. Now, being a disaster juggernaut, it wouldn't be, okay if I didn't share a safety message with you today. So in the event of a fire alarm in the building, we ask that everyone evacuate outside of the doors behind you and exit either to the right or to the left. We will have positioned UIC security and safety personnel, marshaling you to the locations that you need to be at. The evacuation assembly point in the event of a severe weather is parking lot 1B, where the registration tent was at. In the event of extreme weather that requires us to seek shelter indoors, the storm refuge areas are designated as the restrooms, both on the first and second floor. Finally, if you are in the parking lots 1A, 1B, yesterday was gorgeous and beautiful. Today is slightly ominous. Extreme weather requires us to be sheltered indoors. Please proceed to the UIC pavilion. We will have UIC security personnel and staff assisting you in marshaling you to the appropriate location. We are fortunate here at UIC to have strong support of great cadre of university leadership who are amongst us here today, whom I hope you have the chance to meet. At this stage, I would like to introduce to you a true champion of emergency preparedness community, my Chancellor, our Chancellor, Michael Amiridis. Chancellor Amiridis became 9th Chancellor of the University of Illinois at Chicago in March of 2015. His vision for the university encapsulates a set of campus strategic priorities that include a strengthening focus on our student experience, direct engagement with Chicago's business community and nonprofit organizations, a push to showcase the impact of UIC's research portfolio, and the development of a new, more entrepreneurial operating model for the university. Prior to arriving to UIC, Chancellor Amiridis served 21 years at the University of South Carolina. He has earned the National Science Foundation's Award for Early Career Scientists and Engineers, several research and teaching awards from the University of South Carolina, and was elected Fellow of the American Association for Advancement of Science in 2012, and Fellow of the American Institute of Chemical Engineers in 2015. His research has resulted in over 100 peer-reviewed journal publications and over $18 million in research revenue. Chancellor Amiridis received his diploma in chemical engineering in Greece and his PhD in chemical engineering from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Chancellor.
I'm trying to signal to David, come on, let's skip all of this stuff. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know you are here to do a job today, and the last thing that you want is to be listening to a guy in a suit from academia. And usually, you know, as academics, you give us a mic, it's very difficult to get us away from it. So I promise you to make it fast and painless. But I have a few things that I need to do. First of all, I want to welcome you all to UIC. Since, as you can guess from my accent, I'm not a native speaker, I avoid prepositions. So at, of, one that I like is for. We may not be the University of Chicago, we're the University for Chicago. So it's wonderful to have you here today. The other important thing that I want to do is I want to thank you. I want to thank you all because I know we are dealing with a lot of first responders. I want to thank you all for working to make us resilient to all kinds of challenges. Challenges that they are old and we know about, challenges that they are new and we may not be even aware of them, challenges that they are related to weather or other emergencies. I had been in a situation at the University of South Carolina as head of the emergency policy group to face an active shooter on campus, and I know that no matter how you prepare and how much you prepare, still you need to be more prepared for a situation like this. As you and we, all of us in this room, share experiences and lessons learned from incidents that have affected our communities, I believe that we all get better. We can all benefit from successes and improve our operations. From a higher education standpoint, and you can view higher education as large communities, because that's what we are. Every day here we have 10,000 of people in a relatively short, small space. And we know that from this standpoint, from the higher education standpoint, we need to continue to work collaboratively with other agencies. We need to work with the private sector to build, broaden, bridge, integrate our response and recovery plans with the other community plans that are around us. And that's why we are very happy to do this today, because the first and most critical step in these processes is the sharing of information, making sure that the flow of information is seamless, and that's exactly what we are doing today. And as these partnerships continue to grow and mature, I'm here on behalf of UIC to pledge that we will continue to do what we do best at the university, continue to analyze, continue to investigate, and continue to share after all, the results of our research and of our analysis. The last thing that I want to do is I want to brag a little bit about our own folks in this area. You already heard from David, our Chief of the Police, Chief Booker, is back there. We have been proactive in exploring ways to improve activities that support emergency response and homeland security programs. Back 5 years ago, in 2012, we conducted a regional catastrophic private sector integration planning study looking for gaps in public-private sector communications, strategic planning, and also response coordination and understanding from our own perspective. In 2013, we had an event called Operation Joint Venture, and then in 2015, we hosted Operation Power Play. And again, just last year, we had the tabletop exercise for Homeland Security. So all of these exercises have built upon each other, reinforcing our knowledge and offering insights on what works and what we may think that works and may not work. I can tell you from my own personal experience, at the University of South Carolina, we relied heavily on mobile devices. So as soon as we put out active shooter on campus, the message went out, right? And it was very successful. The all clear message took 45 minutes to reach people, because the minute that the emergency took place, everybody, we had around 35,000 people on their cell phones, which jumped the towers and made it very difficult to communicate. So we went back after that incident to public announcement systems to make sure that our old-fashioned PA systems work well, because we needed this. So these are the lessons that you learn, and when you share these lessons, it's very important because it helps all of us to be prepared. Once again, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for ensuring the safety and the welfare of all the members of our community, our students, our staff, our faculty, our patients in the hospitals and the clinics. And thank you to the organizations that they have been making this exercise possible. ComEd, that you will hear from the CEO of ComEd in a couple of minutes, Ameren, Illinois, the City of Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, the DuPage County Homeland Security and Emergency Management, and also, I understand we have the U.S. Army Reserves here today. I saw a lot of people in uniform sitting among us. So thank you for helping this event be a reality today. Now, the most pleasant task that I have is to introduce a great leader and our great friend, Ann Pramaggiore, who is the president and CEO of ComEd. Now, I have a few things that I can say. I can skip all of this and tell you that she's great. She has a stellar set of accomplishments. The only thing that she's missing from her list is a UIC degree, but it's never late. You can work on this. So please welcome Ann. Ann.
So I'll be working on that UIC degree in my spare time. Thank you very much. That was a lovely introduction. Good morning, and thank you for being here today. Welcome to Operation Power Play. We couldn't be more delighted to have you here today. I want to thank the Chancellor and everybody at UIC for making this possible. It takes a lot of work to pull something like this together, and we appreciate you being the host for this very important work here today. I also want to recognize we have some honored guests here today and officials who have come out because they have a special interest in emergency response and recovery in the state of Illinois. Chairman Brian Sheehan from the Illinois Commerce Commission. Commissioner John Rosales from the Illinois Commerce Commission, and you're going to hear from him in a few minutes. Alderman Ariel Raboiris is with us. Carla Rogers from, thank you, from the 15th Ward, and Sheila Paccioni from the 43rd Ward is here today. So we welcome our elected officials. And later this morning, the mayor will join us for a tour of some of the drill activities. So we began this process at ComEd about 4 years ago. We always have drilled emergency response in the company, but we started thinking about looking outside the company because of experiences that we had going into other states to help out with emergency response. And we saw how enhanced coordination can really move restoration forward. We believe that it's an imperative that government and private organizations that have a role in emergency response and recovery ensure that we're all prepared and that we're prepared to operate seamlessly to bring citizens quickly and safely back to normal life. And Illinois is a leader across the United States for this collaborative drilling, and we are quite proud of that. Today, we brought together representatives of more than 50 public and private sector organizations to better understand how we work together to restore critical services following an extreme weather event. The Chancellor gave you a partial list of some of the organizations that are here today. I'm not going to repeat that, but it's an impressive list of private sector, multiple private sector entities, utilities, financial institutions, commercial and retail institutions, and government at the federal level, at the state level, at the county level, at the city level. It is an impressive list, and we are all working together to create a result, a very important result for the citizens of the state. These organizations and many others will apply top talent and resources today to drill an emergency scenario that includes a week of excessive rain, 4 tornadoes touching ground across the state, record flooding in a dozen or more communities along the Des Plaines, Fox, and Mississippi rivers, hundreds of destroyed houses and buildings, thousands of displaced citizens, impassable roads and disrupted internet connectivity, and even a suspicious package that has to be addressed. In addition to the drill that's happening here at UIC, there are teams, as Dave mentioned, participating across the state in this drill as well. The state of Illinois is opening their State Emergency Operations Center in Springfield to coordinate state response to flooding throughout the state. Chicago First, an emergency preparedness organization for banking and financial institutions, is sharing situational awareness information between its member agencies. The U.S. Army Reserve Base in Elwood, Illinois, will be exercising their evacuation and command procedures. The Civil Air Patrol is flying overhead and providing real-time damage assessment photos and video to participating agencies. And the Chicago Federal Executive Board is here using this exercise to practice their continuity of government plans in case of a catastrophic power outage. As we work through impacts to infrastructure, transportation, financial institutions, and hospitals, we'll document areas for enhancement of resources, skills, and interoperability in an after-action report that we will all use to become better at this. I don't think we can overstate the importance of collaboration in an effective restoration effort. As has been revealed time after time when we face an emergency event, it is the ability of multiple emergency response organizations to share resources, skill sets, and intelligence that they gather that is the single most deciding factor in bringing citizens safely and quickly back to normal life. I want to wrap up by thanking Cheryl Malatich, our Vice President of Distribution System Operations, and Dave Bunge, our Senior Emergency Preparedness Administrator, for putting this program together. They've been working on this for almost a year. It takes a tremendous effort to bring this together, to design the drill, to make sure that everybody understands their role, and they've just done a tremendous job, so I want to give them a hand. I don't know where Dave and Cheryl are. They are doing great things. It is my pleasure now to introduce Ron Pate, my colleague from Ameren. He's the Senior Vice President of Operations and Technical Services, and we are just grateful for the partnership. Ron, all yours.
Thank you, Ann. And the drill you just described sounds like, minus the package, what we've gone through the last month, doesn't it? So it's kind of real here. So welcome, everyone. I am Ron Pate, Senior Vice President of Operations and Technical Services for Ameren, Illinois, and we're proud to participate in today's events. The collaboration, cooperation that Ann talked about is so critical to getting our customers back to, I think, what she referred to as normal life, and that's what it is. The commodity that we provide is something that's not a nice to have, it's a need to have, and that collaboration is so critical there. Ameren, Illinois serves 1.2 million electric customers and over 800,000 gas customers across nearly 44,000 square mile service territory. Major storms are no stranger to our territory, nor anyone's, and in fact, our sister and company in Missouri right now has experienced outages. I think they have about 64,000 out, so they're going through a real-life drill as we speak this morning. We have everything from winter ice storms to severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, and flooding causing outages, and sometimes within a 24-hour period, we experience all those. The first step is tracking the weather. Crews may even be dispatched ahead of a storm to expedite response efforts. If severe storms are hitting us, we activate our Emergency Operations Center, our EOC, and it'll be activated and staffed around the clock to coordinate that restoration effort. Immediately following a storm, we begin to get field personnel out in the process of assessing damage to determine the nature of the damage and the resources required to make those repairs. We're also very excited about our material storm trailers. We have one on display today out here, and hopefully you'll take the opportunity to go through that. When I think back just a few years ago about how that looked then and what we have today, I think it's quite impressive, and shout out to that. This operates 8 of these storm trailers in Ameren, Illinois, and stocked with critical supplies to enable crews to quickly and safely restore power. The trailers are deployed either before or after storms to areas that are expected to or have suffered the greatest amount of damage. Once on site, the trailers serve as mobile warehouses, providing Ameren, Illinois crews with convenient access to necessary supplies. The storm trailer houses over 200 different supply items, including bolts, fuses, wires, connectors, those things required to put customers back on. Additionally, we store about 100 cross arms underneath that to serve our customers. So again, please take a look at that if you get the opportunity. Each storm trailer contains enough equipment to supply approximately 400 linemen and restore power to hundreds of our customers. By providing a convenient location to crews to restock supplies, a storm trailer enables crews to focus on restoring service in a quick, efficient, and safe manner. In addition to quick access to supplies, we also have access to additional hands. As you can imagine, you can't always handle these in-house, and you have to reach out for neighboring utilities such as ComEd to help us out. Ameren, Illinois participates in the Mutual Assistance Network, which means we are able to help with emergencies in other parts of the country and can also count on help from other utilities when severe storms. That means that it's better to give than receive in those instances. You know, we'd like to send crews out and not have them in. Priority 1 is communication with key stakeholders in responding to life-threatening emergencies, such as down wires, and also to handle all issues impacting critical infrastructure, such as hospitals and other emergency facilities. Once power is restored to critical infrastructure, crews focus on getting the most customers restored in the quickest and most efficient manner. Crews begin with our main lines, those that can restore powers to perhaps thousands of customers, and then work their way down to move to lines that affect hundreds, dozens, and individual homes. This is why homes in some neighborhoods may be restored at different times, as well as some of our businesses restored sooner because being on a primary line. With safety in mind, we are also making our grid smarter and stronger. The Energy Infrastructure Modernization Act of 2011 is allowing our company to make significant improvements to our electric delivery system. We are strength testing and reinforcing poles that are vulnerable to failure to keep those from happening. By installing Interoperable technology, we can automatically locate an outage, isolate the damage, and transfer those customers to alternate power source without even rolling a truck. We are also installing advanced meters that will alert us when a customer's power is out so we can restore service more promptly. These system upgrades and technology advancements are helping us to improve the reliability to service to our many customers. We also continue to strive to improve our community outreach and increase the efficiency of our own internal emergency response procedures. Preparation and response is an important part of our daily responsibilities. We would like to personally thank ComEd, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, and the University of Illinois Chicago for developing, coordinating, and hosting this event. Please allow me now to introduce the next speaker, Commissioner John Rosales from the Illinois Commerce Commission. Commissioner.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be back in the neighborhood. I attended St. Ignatius College Prep just a couple blocks down, and my wife received both her bachelor's and her master's degree from the University of Illinois at and for Chicago. So Come on, let's give it up for University of Illinois. You could clap too, Chancellor. It's okay, because my wife is Greek, and so we have a real affinity for the University of Illinois. I'd like to thank ComEd for inviting me to attend and speak at today's exercise. I would also like to recognize my colleagues at the Illinois Commerce Commission. This Public Service Commission is the most diverse public service commission in the country, led by our esteemed Chairman, Mr. Brian Sheehan. So for those of my colleagues from the ICC, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. I'm so proud to be part of the ICC. At the ICC, it is our responsibility to balance the interests of consumers and utilities to ensure adequate, efficient, reliable, safe, and least cost public utility services. Public utility services such as gas, electricity, and water are essential, and even the slightest interruption can have severe consequences for the citizens of Illinois who depend on these services. It's during severe weather events when these services are most important. Even though there is little we can do to control Mother Nature, we can plan and prepare to respond swiftly and restore these essential services. Exercises like the ones we're going to witness today are an excellent way to prepare for emergency situations and test the various organizations' abilities to respond to those instances. The impact severe weather can have on public utility services is extensive, and utility companies, as well as state agencies, need to prepare for such events. With the increased demand of summer approaching, exercises such as today's are an excellent opportunity for the various private and public agencies throughout the state of Illinois to prepare for emergency weather situations. This simulation today will test and identify areas of improvement in response to low probability but high impact events that could occur in the state of Illinois. For example, the sub-freezing temperatures during the winter or the record-setting heat in summer put a strain on the grid. Or the high winds from tornadoes and storm systems can knock down power lines and leave thousands of homes without power. Severe weather events such as those I've listed do not happen often, but when they do occur, the impact on our public utility services can be disastrous if we are not prepared. I applaud ComEd. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. Ameren, Illinois, the University of Illinois at and for Chicago, the U.S. Army Reserve, and all those participating in today's exercise for proactively planning for emergency situations. By working together, we can test our ability to collaborate and respond to emergency situations and identify any areas that need improvement. Identifying and addressing weaknesses in the system will give us a chance to ensure we have the proper procedures and equipment in place when an actual emergency occurs. I look forward to seeing the results from today's exercise and the continued collaboration between the various agencies to prepare and respond in emergency situations to ensure the safety of all the citizens of Illinois. Now I'd like to introduce Joe Klinger. Joe has an extensive resume, but he's a retired Navy captain, former Marine. In the neighborhood, we would say he's a bad boy. Welcome, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Unfortunately, I know the Governor Ronald really wanted to be here, and Director James Joseph, our director of IEMA, really wanted to be here, but they couldn't. And that's a disappointment, I know. But my schedule permitted, and I'm happy to be here. And we at IEMA are very proud co-sponsors of this very, very important event. The whole community, you've heard this used a lot. Just look around. The whole community is right here represented. It's so important because no one entity can handle a major event. It just doesn't work. We tried it in the past. It used to be that way. But we've learned you got to reach out. You have to have partnerships. So we're constantly trying to do that at IEMA. We learn from every exercise, from every event. We learn. We take lessons learned, and what that will happen here too. And we change our plans because preparedness The way you improve preparedness is you plan, train, and exercise. And so that's what we're doing today. We're at the point where we're exercising now. Later on, we'll do the after-action report. We'll identify those gaps. We'll come up with a corrective action plan, tweak the plan again, and here we go again. Plan, train, and exercise. That's how we get better. And so you'd think we'd be pretty good by now because we do this all the time. We have, in our state, we also have graded exercises at each of our 6 nuclear power stations. We have more nuclear power stations than any other state in the country, by the way. And so we learn a lot from those as well. So you'd think we'd be really good, and we are, and I'm very proud of where we are. But we can always improve. Director Joseph says, if we are not actively improving, we are failing. Well, that was pretty harsh. But you know what? I think he's right. So that's what we're doing today. So every event starts locally and ends locally. You probably heard that many times, but that's so true because local emergency management, we've got DuPage and other counties involved in this, they deal with emergencies all the time. They're using partnerships and stuff. And then once it rises, once their resources are overwhelmed, they come to the state, and that's when the state gets involved. Governor Ronald activates our State Emergency Operations Center, and then we coordinate all the available resources. And when we're overwhelmed, we look to our federal partners. And so we try and maintain really good relationships with our federal partners. It's, we've got them all over, the Army, the Navy, NORTHCOM, all over, NRC, FEMA, they're everywhere. And they bring a lot of very important resources. So we hope we don't need them that often, but when we do, they're great to have. So over the last decade, we've really learned how important the private sector partnership is. It used to be, and not wisely, used to be the private sector would go out there and do their thing, and they did a great job, and then we did our own job, the public sector. And we've learned, though, that if we can help Ameren restore the power in those by giving them some permits to access certain areas or making their job better, then that helps our citizens recover faster. I mean, it's a win-win situation. So now we've really embraced it, so much so that we have a business emergency operations center. We have a virtual business emergency operations center, and those are being used during this exercise. We have one right over here you'll see later on today. We have a business EOC at our State Emergency Operations Center in Springfield that is operational right now, and we have a virtual BEOC that can address all the private sector needs remotely while they are in their headquarters operations. So we've learned a lot, and we're very, very proud of that. Back at the State Emergency Operations Center right now, we have 12 different agencies that are around the table right now participating in this event. So we continue to strive to learn. We always get better. I don't think we'll ever get perfect. Once you think you're perfect, you've got a big problem. So also we have one of our 3 Unified Area Command vehicles on display. You'll be able to tour that today as well. So thanks again. I'm very excited about participating today, and it is now my honor to introduce a representative of one of our key partners in emergency management. It's American Red Cross. It's amazing how fast they can set up a shelter anywhere in our state. I mean, towns I've never even heard of. All of a sudden, oh, we got a shelter all ready to go. How'd you do that? Got people ready. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Celena Roldán, who's the CEO of American Red Cross of Chicago and Northern Illinois.
Thank you so much, Joe, for that introduction and that recognition. The Red Cross truly appreciates the partnership with IEMA and the work your organization does every single day to keep our state safe. Good morning. As the CEO of the Chicago Northern Illinois Red Cross, I am proud to represent the Red Cross and to have our organization take part in Operation Power Play. Operation Power Play may be a statewide disaster simulation exercise, but disaster preparation and response is synonymous with the Red Cross and what we do every single day. The Red Cross disaster preparedness, response, and recovery work would not be possible without dedicated partners in the public and private sector, many of whom are represented here today, and throughout the far-reaching Operation Power Play exercise, such as the state of Illinois, ComEd, Ameren, the Illinois Commerce Commission, the City of Chicago, the Office of Emergency Management, and of course, the University of Illinois at Chicago. Team simulation makes us stronger when a scenario becomes a reality. On the surface, it may seem difficult to imagine the devastating Operation Power Play disaster scenarios becoming a reality. A mind-boggling combination of severe natural and man-made disasters. But simulations are critical because disasters are not slowing down, and they are increasing in their complexity. They are today's reality. Unusual disasters continue to hit us when we least expect it. The recent winter tornado in Ottawa and Naples certainly was unique in its timing and incredibly unfortunate in its devastation. Due to exercises like Operation Power Play, planning and partnerships enable a coordinated and dedicated response to complex natural and man-made disasters. Disaster preparedness, response, and recovery across town, across the country, and around the world is what the Red Cross does every single day. Today, like any other day, the Red Cross is in action. Dangerous flooding and widespread devastation recently pummeled Missouri and Arkansas, and the Red Cross continues to help, supporting shelters, providing meals, assessing damage, providing relief supplies, including food, clothing, shelter, to people displaced by disasters, and doing what we can to comfort them during their most difficult time. While my staff and volunteers are participating in the Operation Power Play exercise, setting up and testing shelter care, providing family and patient reunification services, working with the partners and players at the IEMA and OEMC, other teams of Red Crossers are also active in the day-to-day disaster response. This includes the small and silent disasters that rarely make the news, such as home fires, our most common disaster. The Red Cross responds to 3 to 4 home fires every single day. Home fires are also tragic as they leave people in situations that need safe shelter, food, clothing, infant supplies, and a plan to get back on their feet. Keeping communities safe is a critical component of the Red Cross mission, and mission delivery, disaster response are only possible through our extraordinary volunteers who represent more than 90% of our workforce. The power of our Red Cross volunteers, 300,000 strong across our country, cannot be underestimated. They mobilize at a moment's notice when a disaster like the Operation Power Play scenario strikes. They are individuals who wear compassion on their sleeve and are at the ready, prepared, and trained for disaster response. Our volunteers make a huge sacrifice every single day when they are called up to set up a shelter, feed a devastated community, or to comfort a family in the middle of the night. It is hard work, but our volunteers do it because they care about our community. I am completely and so proud of the work that they do and the work that all of us do together. Thank you to all of you and all of our supporters in the room and in the community. You make the mission of the Red Cross possible and enable us to participate in programs like Operation Power Play, where simulations enable disaster response to be stronger in the face of broad-scale, complex disasters that are a reality of our world today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for all of our speakers. So I have an announcement, as this is not part of the exercise, but someone in the parking lot apparently lost a wedding ring. So if a male ring you're looking for in the parking lot, the UIC Police Department has it and they're lost and found. So look at that. We had an emergency and we responded right away. So great job, UIC, University of Illinois at Chicago. Thank you. So again, I would like to thank UIC again. So now is the time for the tours. So I have good news and bad news. Tours is the good news. Bad news, I've heard from our ComEd meteorologist that it is still raining outside. She looked outside and confirmed that forecast. We have fantastic meteorologists. Seriously, we do. In your folder, you've got a map. So these are the different tour stops that you're going to be going on. So I hope everyone has a badge. If you don't have a badge, we may question you here. So on the back of your badge, you should have a number. So this is the tour group that you are going to be with, okay? So make a note of that number. The tour guides are going to be gathering outside, and they've got very high-tech signs that they're going to be holding up that says tour group number 1, tour group number 2, like that. So you've got about 25 minutes per tour stop, and we've built in about 5 minutes worth of walking for each one. So you'll be coming back here at 12:30, but we're not able to stay in this room because we're going to be rearranging the room in here for lunch at 12:30. I also have to mention, if you haven't already, make sure you download the ComEd app so you can monitor your outages. And then also, if you've been in the parking lot, it is a little bumpy, so just watch your step, please. Safety message there. Keep your eyes on the path. And then we will be coming back here at 12:30. So tour groups number 1 through 5, you'll be meeting here in the hallway right outside the doors here. Tour groups 6 through 10 will be in the atrium, and then 11 through 15 should be on the ramp that you took, inside on the ramp coming down that you took getting in here. Correction. So 1 through 5 stay in this room. The other 2 stay, the atrium and then the ramp, please. So any VIPs or speakers should be staying in this room. Tour groups 6 through 10 out in the atrium, 11 through 15 on the ramp.